Welcome all. Welcome in. Welcome into the coaching circle. We are really glad to have you here. And today we have a good one. We have a really interesting one where we are just all pitching in. We've had long journeys in 2024 and we feel we're under construction. We're a work in progress. So this is our conversation talking about the changes we've seen, the changes we've gone through, and we are really glad to share them with you. So welcome on in. So where do we start? Who wants to go first on this topic? Under construction. What are the changes you've had in this year, 2024?
Wow. I guess I'll start. A year ago to now, it's just complete like 180. Um, when it comes to career choice, when it comes to relationships, friendships, literally the people that I thought were, or the things that I thought were solid in my life a year ago are not here anymore. But in a weird way, I felt like those things had to be removed from my life for me to become my best version and in order for me to be on the right path with the right people. So since then, even though I've lost some friends in relationships, I've gained better aligned friendships. I gained a career where it's more fulfilling, more in alignment for me rather than stay in a job that I didn't enjoy, that I in fact hated and it was really toxic. I was very scared to leave, but I ended up being brave enough to make the decision because I knew in my heart, and this is what I'm saying. I think that's where like the inner work was speaking to me. It was like my gut was telling me, leave. And I'm like, oh, I'm scared. And it's just like, just take one step at a time. And yeah, even when it came to like the business and doing the inner work there, I wrote down little things like uh, inner work accomplishments for me to see how much I've grown. Like setting up my website was such a big thing for me where I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't see myself ever doing this. And then it's already done. It's done. It's already uploaded. It's live. I include blogs on there, you know. I've hooked it up to my YouTube channel. I created a YouTube channel, you know? And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine ever being on screen, like on video, recording, let alone going live streaming with you guys over here. So I forget, you know, that I've grown so much. So that's what it comes off on the top of my head so far.
Yeah, I love what you've said, Alex. The things that I thought were solid are now gone. For me, it's the same. This place in Mexico, this recovery retreat place, it was very important to me. It was very important on my recovery journey, on my personal growth journey. I just had to leave. I kind of already overstayed. It was hard to leave, but I'm better now that I left that. Same with the friendship, same with the person that I trusted in my other work. So all the stuff that I thought was solid is gone. What a good expression, but other things have come. A new partnership has come in work. Um, I'm living in a different place in Mexico now. I start building a life. So new things have come. And a very good way. I have to admit, I'm never happy with my growth. I always think it should be more. But then when I compare, look back at a year ago, I can see, whoa, a lot has happened. So that's a good way to see that you have grown.
Yeah, I think mine's similar. That everything that I thought was the same, like that you said, Alex, was that it's like not here now. I think for me, it's been about having self love and putting myself first and having boundaries with people. But I think if you're in friendships where you haven't had boundaries before, and then you put those boundaries in place, then it can be quite confusing to those people. So most of the time that will end, and that's what's happened. But it's opened the way for new aligned friendships, which is really great. I've also started a YouTube channel and also started a singing business, singing like a Disney princess singing business, and doing open mic nights and singing gigs as well. So it's just been a massive change this year. So it's been really great. Yeah.
Great. I have also had a multitude of changes. It's easy to say that, you started a YouTube channel, but really we need to dig down a little bit more into what it takes to do that. It wasn't easy. It's not just this one statement. It is, I remember my first video, at least I think it was my first video. It's called Allow Yourself to Be Seen. And I was doing it practically. I never thought I'd be on camera. Celebrities are on camera. That's not for someone like me. So it's part of the inner work journey. I started the podcast in December 2023. So it's really been 1 year. I've seen the wrapped up. I really enjoyed it. So I got a lot of love from a lot of people. And it felt nice because, as you said, Alex, it was more of a calling. So for you, it was getting out of the job. For me, it was something that my soul is calling me to do. And I'm like, but why? But why? But why? I felt like the story of Jonah and the fish. So trying to run away in the opposite direction as fast as I could. I don't want to do this. But then I felt it's a calling. And it feels good when I actually do it. So the resistance that I felt was a small hitch on the road to massively expanding my life, because I'm absolutely a totally different person, as you've all said. If I met my 2023-year-old version, 2023 version now, she wouldn't recognize me. She'd be like, "But what happened to you? Where did this change come from? Where did you pick it up from?" Yeah. Mm.
I feel like I've even seen it with the changes within ourselves, like with you guys. So I've seen so much growth. I know your guys' story, and from when we first began to where now, it's like you guys have all evolved to become better versions of your guys' selves, and still are, and that's worth noting. Sometimes we need to hear it from other people because we may like, I don't think I've changed. But like, you know what I mean? When you hear it from people who are on this journey, you get to really put that in perspective and be like, wow, yeah, I have grown. I am continuing to grow, and it gives you the motivation to keep going. And that's why I find it so, and this is the thing that I've learned this year, what's made it different than any other years is the sense of community in the inner work, because I intuitively and intellectually knew what I needed to do, but my actions never changed. My persona never changed. My identity never changed because the people and the situations around me were keeping me in my old identity. And now that I got to be part of like an online, course, and that online community that talks about inner work, I met you lovely ladies, and it gives me a sense of responsibility for myself. And like, okay, I owe it to them to like still continue to do the inner work, and you guys motivate me to keep going. And those are the types of aligned friendships is what I'm looking for, and that I want to have around. So it's really propelled me faster than I ever had if I did this work alone.
Yeah, I agree to that. For me, this friendship is also very important. And I have already noticed that having ladies like you in my life and also in the course, that has helped me to I also started a YouTube channel. That has helped me make certain decisions because that's what we believe. And being alone can be difficult sometimes. And it's good to have a community with the same beliefs. And also thinking about myself, I think starting that YouTube channel was a huge step for me because I knew if I'm going to start that, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to share about what matters. It's called the elephant in the room for a reason. And so becoming that person, and then asking myself, I like to ask myself that question if I'm not sure, is that the person I want to be? So that is really something. I'm not the person, most of my life, I was hiding. I was hiding due to being an addict, due to being bulimic. I was always hiding. I was not happy with my situation. I was ashamed and I was hiding. And now I'm out in the open. I'm the one who shows others, like, you don't need to hide. You don't need to be ashamed. You can still do something. You can contribute. I'm a person who contributes. And even if it's just in a very small scale, it does matter. And I want people to know so they can ask me if they want to. And it's just such a better feeling. Like, I was in an A meeting yesterday, and somebody shared that in his work he cannot be open about his recovery. And I was so happy when I realized I can be open now. I'm free now. I have this channel. I can free. I'm free. I can openly talk about what I want. And that was an amazing realization.
Beautiful. Let's do this. A question. It's an unfair question as always. So we'll go around the table with an inner work activity that stood out for you this year. So something that you did from an inner work perspective that you felt was truly shook you, truly moved you from one spot to the other. Since I'm the unfair one with raising the question, I'll start off with the answer. And let's see, one activity I would say that shook me was learning the power of decisions. Learning that I am a magician in my life and get, by the sheer power of making a decision, to change my reality. So just by deciding that, and I'll give you the example, that what happened this year is that I learned about some trauma that I had experienced that I hadn't been aware of. So that was really, really shaking. It shook me quite a bit. And then I was stuck there. And then I was wondering, what do I do with this trauma? How do I get it? Felt to me like an insurmountable mountain. How will I ever get over this? How this is so heavy, so difficult, so big. Then I learned that I can decide. Yes, it is possible that it would take years and years and years and a long, long, long time to get over it. Or I can decide to jump over the healing paths. So instead of taking this paths that has been charted for, that we're taught, that we're generally taught that you need to take time, do this, I decided that there is a version of me outside there that is healed. And I'm not claiming to be healed, no, but I'm claiming to be much better off. I'm stating that I am much better off in terms of my healing progress than I would have been without having realized that I have the power within myself to make the decision to quantum leap into a version of me that is more healed than the version of me that was there at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I had a big growth this year concerning my relationship with the cold. I was I think I had trauma around the cold, not only the cold from the outside, but feeling cold inside. And I had an accountability buddy. For 1 week, I had to send a message every day that I did my cold shower in the morning. I needed that to start. Then also I was in this place that had a cold plunge. So I went in the cold plunge, and I could only go into here. And then after a week, I was like, why am I not going in completely? And then I just did it. So it was an area that's very, very difficult for me. It was doable. So that was a very good exercise for me, because the saying I like, how I do one thing is how I do everything. So it's doable. You just do it. You just go in. And whether it's a difficult phone call, the difficult discussion, it's going to be the same.
I think as well for me, I would maybe not necessarily say this as an exercise, but more so an identity. A lot of people are looking for the right people. They're like looking for the right friends, the right relationship, the right this and this and that. I realize we have to become it first. And I can't expect my friendships to be the best if I'm not behaving in a way that is reflective of that. If I want better friendships or better relationships, I need to be almost the equivalent to receive that. So I look at things from a different perspective. A lot of people like change the people around you, raise your standards, absolutely, as you should, but also be the person that people want to be around as well. Um, so things such as being honest, being communicative, being respectful, being doing the inner work, and constantly holding myself accountable. And those are the same things that I would expect from a partner and a friend. So being it was makes it easier for me to see if those qualities are in the people around me, realizing that if they're not doing the inner work or having any of the motivation to change it, I gotta like let them go. Either have a conversation with them first, to see if that's something that they're willing to work at, or like let it go and trust that there's more aligned people. And that's the other part that I've learned is trusting in the unknown, because we always want to attach to what's familiar. We're like, oh no, I've been with this friend, been with this person for so long, and it's like I don't know anything different. It's like in the unknown, you become that better version of yourself, and then you end up attracting better aligned people for you and better situations that you didn't think was possible, because if you did, you would have done it earlier. So it's like trusting in the unknown a little bit. I feel like I've trusted in, like, whatever you want to call it, God, universe, divine. I've trusted that more so this past year than any other year in my life.
I think my inner work thing that's moved me the most is to be the conscious villain. And so when I've had to, when I want to be authentic and I've been in a situation where I've had to speak up and say how I feel, then I've been turned into the villain and people have like left my life. But I've had to be the conscious villain and say it's okay to be the villain in this situation. If that's what they want to make me into, then that's fine. And it's like accepting that and accepting sort of to be alone. But if I think if you can't do that, then you can't get to like the other side of it, where you open your life up for new aligned relationships. So I've been around that mountain so many times where I've spoken up and I've said how I feel, and then I've got like pushback from people, and then I've like backed down and said, oh, like I'm really sorry, and we've ended up back in the same friendship or back in the same relationship again, and my life hasn't changed. And it's been like a circle for like 40 odd years of the same thing. And it's just this year I've like realized that no, I need to be on the other side of that. I need to actually go through any of the discomfort of being on my own or not having friends, and also having like that abundance mindset to say there is other friends out there is other opportunities. So yeah, that's been like the major one for me.
Great. Thanks, Gooby.
Bye,
Just
Gooby.
bye, Gooby. A question here, and it's something you've touched on. This balance between what you need to do on your own and what you need to do with support. How do we figure that out? What advice would there be for someone who's not sure if they're alone too much or with others too much in terms of their inner work journey?
Well, I think it starts off with getting to know yourself and knowing what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and who you want to be. It's hard to articulate what it is you're feeling and what your needs are, what your wants are, if you're not clear on what that is within you first. If you don't know what the difference between sadness and like grief or resentment, you're probably not going to articulate that well to somebody that you need to talk to. You might even avoid those conversations, or you might not even be able to hold the space for them while they're navigating those tough emotions, because you don't know how to hold that space for yourself. So it all kind of starts with ourselves first, and really kind of getting a better understanding of what it is that we're feeling, what we're thinking, and who we want to be. And then looking out into the world, and I feel like it gives you this better clarity on reading people correctly versus reading people from your trauma and trauma bonding with the wrong people. Because now I can look at people and be like, oh heck no, you know, you're bad news. Like you are gonna bring me back down to a level I just got out of. And no harm, no foul, but I think it's having the awareness and choosing differently in those subtle moments that either brings you back to an old identity or to the version that you want to be, which is like your best self, your highest self, and having the right people around you that is going to be a good influence on you and these people to me are continuously doing the inner work. They'll tell me things, and I don't want to get defensive on it. It's a conversation here. True friendships and true relationships are going to help you become your better version of yourself, but you're going to also want to be inspired and motivated to become that better version of yourself, also for them too.
I think as well, like not being scared to be on your own for a while. If you are in a situation where you've been like a people pleaser for years and years, and then all of a sudden you start setting boundaries, it is to be expected that people are going to leave your life because it is confusing to them that you're like one person 1 minute and then you've changed into a different person. So I think if you can bear that in mind and just know that it's not about you, it's about like the person. If they've decided that, oh, well, you've set some boundaries that are reasonable boundaries and I'm going to leave this friendship now, then that says more about them than it says about you, I think.
And I'll add in knowing when to reach out for professional help. It could be therapy, it could be counseling, it could be any other means of support that is out there. For me, therapy was very useful because that is the lens that I used to understand that my life was not perfect, that there was room for growth. And it having, I don't know how to put it, having the community might have the steps of changing the community that you have around you, which is what you've said, Nikki. So it's not necessarily just relying on the people you have around you at the moment when you're starting your inner work journey, but it is possible to find, it is possible that those people are the ones who support you, absolutely. And it is possible to find that you need new people around you as well. So that's a take on that. Cool. I think that's what we had actually. Is there any other point that you see? I think we've covered what we'd noted before.
I think just like last quick bit summary, main points is act from a place of abundance versus like abundance and love and their best self versus fear or anxiety or reactivity. So it takes a moment to pause to really kind of get clear, like, oh, what state of mind am I acting from? Because, for example, it could be the difference in choosing that person or in your life and keeping them in your life. So when in reality, you need to cut them off. So if you're an abundant, loving, best version of yourself, you realize, hey, this friendship is no longer serving me. I got to let it go. But somebody in the scarcity mindset, a fearful mindset, been like, I don't have any other friends. I'm going to keep them around. And that's the difference between the old identity and the new identity. The new identity is going to have you, it's going to challenge you to be your best version. And it's in the subtle moments where we get to go back to our identity. And even if you fall back, this is the thing. You can bounce back. You can bounce back to who you want to be. It might give you the clear, I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And you can bounce back. You can fall and get back up. It's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. It's like, do you want to stay down or do you want to keep going forward? Because it's a journey. It's a journey for a reason. And it's a step by step. And if you keep doing that, you're going to be like, wow, so many things have changed. I'm going to keep going.
I think for me, it's been about getting to know myself and deciding who I want to be. and then being that person. And if people fall away, or if, you know, we're not aligned anymore in a friendship, then that's okay. And it's been okay to be on my own. And like Alex was saying, having that abundance mindset and knowing that new aligned people are going to come in and new opportunities are going to come in as well.
Yeah, your life is going to fall apart for things to fall into place. So it's okay if it's under construction, as it should. You know, that means things are moving around. You can't expect to be a new version of yourself while still expecting your old identity, the old people in your life, and the old situations. No, things have to shift. Be prepared for the shift, and have people in your corner that are going to support you and help you stay motivated on that journey. That will help along in the process.
There's a price to pay, isn't there? There's a price to pay for being a people pleaser. You'll end up in relationships that are not healthy. Or there's a price to pay for being authentic, where you might have to be alone for a while, or you might have fewer friends, but they're more aligned friends. So it's just, which price do you want to pay? Which road do you want to go down?
And the joy of being authentic, to actually be able to turn up as yourself and be accepted for the person you are. Starting with yourself, you accept yourself for being who you are, and then let the people who are around you take you or leave you. But then you being you means that you don't have to hide. You don't need to, you let go of shame. You no longer have to have shame in your life because you're always you. Yeah. And now I forgot what I wanted to say. Then we leave it at that. I had one point, the golden point. But it's gone. But this has been good. And for everyone listening, this was the point, that being under construction is an ongoing thing. Inner work doesn't have an end point as such, in my perspective anyway. We're always just growing and growing. And in 2025, at a time like this, we'll maybe have this same video and we'll be saying, wow, look how we changed, look how we've grown, look, we never thought we'd do this. So yes, take the steps, take small steps, be okay with whatever changes are coming your way, and live life boldly. Yeah,
and perfectionism doesn't exist, does it? Like perfection doesn't exist, even like you were saying, it's an ongoing journey, and so you never get there. So you've just got to be happy where you are, don't you? I think.
You can be happy where you are and still want more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. Well then, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is the Coaching Circle. We'll catch you again next week at the same time and the same place. Bye-bye.